What's up, faggots? Name's Kami and I'm back. Gonna be starting off reviewing anime. Toonami just recently started telling everybody that they're gonna be doing anime movies all this month, pretty much. This past week, they showed one of my favorite anime films, and one of my favorite films of all time. They showed Akira. Yup, Toonami showed Akira, one of the most influential anime movies of all time. What are you doing? Faggot. And if you've never seen Akira, I don't even know why you say you like anime. Okay, if there was like a test or a class to be an anime nerd, Akira will probably be part of your final exam. Dude, nobody wants to hear Tosh.0. Turn down Tosh.0. What are you doing? Move! Alright, well, that's enough about talking about it. Let me just show you some clips of it and get this review started. Alright, this is Akira, the 1988 animated cyberpunk action film, directed by Katsuhiro Otomo and written by Aizo Hashimoto. Alright, this movie paved the way for so many films after it, like The Matrix and Chronicle. I mean, even Kanye West's Stronger video was an adaptation of this amazing film, and it opened a way for mature audiences to enjoy anime. The movie basically opens up with this huge explosion that starts World War III. We're not sure why or exactly when, but we do know this is Tokyo 2019 when it currently begins. And it opens up with this biker gang. There's one thing I should say about this movie, it is violent. I mean, this is not a kid's movie. This movie was intended for mature audiences, and I guess that's why so many people love it. I mean, from bashing kids' heads in to people shooting each other. But I must say, this movie is incredibly fast-paced, so watching it one time might not be enough. There's so many tiny plot points and so many characters that it's hard to keep up. There are some characters you should know. First off, there's Tetsuo. Tetsuo is one of the main characters in this story. He's the kid who gets the psychic powers and starts to turn evil and yada yada yada. Please, let's have a moment of silence for this boy's forehead. Damn! This guy looks like what Earl Sweatshirt and Vegeta's kid would look like. It's terrible. I don't know what possessed him to make his forehead that big, but yeah. The next character you need to know is Kaneda, or Kaneda, depending on which version you're watching. And, well, he's basically the leader of the biker gang, and like Tetsuo's bigger brother. And Tetsuo isn't really fond of that.
Alright, let's hit it!
I customized that bike for myself. It's too wild. You couldn't handle it.
I don't see how you can ride something crazy like that, man.
I could.
If you want it so bad, then steal one yourself.
Alright, this is basically how the dynamic between Tetsuo and Kaneda is set up. Tetsuo is the little brother, and Kaneda is the big brother. And obviously from the clip you've just seen, Tetsuo is jealous of Kaneda. So now when Tetsuo gets powers, yeah, he tries to outdo Kaneda, which is basically a life lesson on how jealousy is a dangerous thing, because it twists Tetsuo's mind. The basic plot of this story is Tetsuo's trying to find this all-powerful being named Akira. The only people who even knew Akira was alive were people who were there 30 years ago when the explosion happened. Now the government is trying to rebuild, start up the Olympics, put back in education, but the general is trying to warn them there might be a new Akira, and that means another explosion. And that new explosion might be Tetsuo, but they're not listening, and they're putting the general in jeopardy of losing his job, basically. Oh, one thing I should probably mention that would make or break this movie for you is the versions. Okay, there was a dub done in 1989, and that one was by Streamline, and then there was one done in 2001 by Pioneer. Pioneer, that's the one Toonami showed. 1989, that's probably the one the old heads love. I hate it. Alright, this is the Pioneer version they did in 2001.
Kaneda, what is...
Thank you.
Huh?
You called me, didn't you? And I heard you.
This is the one they did in 89. by Streamline.
Kaneda.
Thank you.
What?
You called me back. I heard you.
So now you know all the audio differences and stuff like that. Back to the story. Okay, Tetsuo is now leaving the hospital, and Kei and Kaneda are coming in. I am assuming to rescue him, but I think Kei, I'm not even sure how to say her name. Anyway, Tetsuo's going crazy because he's not on his meds, which usually suppresses power, but now his power is flaring up and it's growing faster than his body can handle, and I think it's warping his mind, or maybe it's just a grudge he has against Kaneda. But he reads one of the little girls' minds that they use as test subjects, and he locates Akira. And now the government is going through a coup d'etat where the general is trying to take control and stop Tetsuo from being another Akira and destroying the city. This old man is one of the subplots. He's filled with greed and he sent these agents trying to see what the general was up to, but he betrays them and he subsequently dies. Don't know why, but he has a heart attack in the middle of the street. Now Tetsuo is going crazy through the streets, destroying helicopters, blowing up buildings, and now people are running thinking he is the next Akira, or the original, and they start to worship him. I'm not sure what's going on. He just starts destroying stuff, looking for Akira. Turns out there's nothing left of him. They dissected him as soon as he exploded, and then try to figure out what made him tick, and they made those other kids. And the government tries to wipe out Tetsuo with some laser beam satellite. Tetsuo destroys it with his mind. Dude blows it up with his mind, and then his power finally gets too great for him and he becomes this giant monster thing. Not even sure what to call it. And then Akira comes back from the dead. Okay, and then these two kids say maybe they can create a new universe and then everything will be okay. Yeah, it's a real sketchy ending and they didn't really explain it well, but I'll explain it for you. Basically, Akira was the first subject. Akira was the most powerful, and then Akira comes back to create a new universe for him and Tetsuo to reign over as gods. So ultimately, God creates the universe, God creates man, man evolves, man becomes the god, and then God creates the universe. And that's Akira. Right, so there you go, Akira in a nutshell. Story's a little fast, artwork is amazing, it's revered as a classic, soundtrack is beautiful, and since it's one of my favorite movies of all time, I automatically gotta give it a 10 out of 10. This movie is golden. If you're interested in seeing Akira, the full movie, I'll put a link to it in the description. And for the sake of time and not boring you, I'm only going to be reviewing anime this week. If there's something else you would like me to review, just hit me up on Twitter at SenseiX. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll be doing these every week, so I guess see you next week. Yeah.